Hey there and welcome back to our channel. On this channel, we talk about dissociative identity disorder and borderline personality disorder. My name is Megumi, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the hypomanic episode that we recently had. So this happened a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't notice that the episode was building until it had hit, and then it was racing thoughts, agitation, pacing around the apartment like we could not sit still. Shell was handling most of this. And the interesting thing with our system, like I've seen systems where only one alter has bipolar disorder and it doesn't affect the other alters. It affects mostly the whole system. We have a couple of alters that aren't too affected by it, but especially the mania can really affect the rest of us and can make us agitated. It can be difficult to focus. It really adds to the dissociation. And funnily enough, I'm one of the alters that tends to hold some of those manic symptoms. So Shell was kind of handling it on her own because the rest of us aren't very useful during a manic episode either. So it kind of doesn't matter who's out. But for us, and I wonder if this is similar for anybody else with bipolar 2 disorder, is it can sometimes feel difficult to determine if we are in an episode because our hypomania tends to show up as anxiety and irritability rather than the like euphoric presentation. So sometimes it's kind of like, are we just having a bad day, or is this an episode, or is it building into one? And one of the things that made us realize this was an episode was, again, Shell pacing around the apartment because she couldn't sit still, the racing thoughts, the fact that the rest of us couldn't quite get a hold of being coherent, and like just very real irritability and agitation. We had our therapy appointment in the middle of the episode, and our therapist noticed the difference. And we haven't really figured out what to do when we have a hypomanic episode except just write it out. We do take medication for the disorder, and normally we try to get a regular night's sleep. We try to eat regularly, some of us more than others. And those are the types of things that we try to do to keep our disorder under control. But with the hypomania, it is especially important for us to try to get to sleep. With the hypomanic episode, a lot of times that comes with insomnia or a decreased need for sleep. Luckily, one of the medications that we take is sedating, so we're able to sleep because we take it. But in this time, it still took us a long time to get to sleep. So we were dealing a little bit with that. And luckily, this wasn't a very long-lasting episode. We hadn't noticed that it had been building over a few days, and then when we felt it, that was kind of at its peak, and then it started to kind of get under control the next couple of days. And by the next week, we were through it. Now, one of the things that happens with our hypomania is that almost immediately following it usually comes like a really bad depressive episode. And that's one of the things that we fear the most with the hypomania, in addition to the fact that the anxiety, the agitation, the irritability, the racing thoughts, none of that is comfortable. None of that is pleasant to sit through. But the real concern comes when the episode ends and the depressive episode starts. And we were really lucky this time. We worked with our therapist because we know that that's the pattern now. So we were able to have ourselves prepared to have to deal with that if it happened. Luckily, this time it wasn't followed by a major depressive episode. And I think that speaks a lot to how far we've come as a system, because depression used to be pretty constant for us. And to not be experiencing it, especially after a hypomanic episode, it says a lot. And I'm really proud of the system for working together and working towards healing. Okay, so we switched. I'm still not entirely sure who I am. I did take a few minutes to get a little more grounded, but I'm still not sure who I am at the moment. But I have an idea of what's going on now. I played back what Megumi was talking about. But he pretty much covered like what was going on with the episode. That is pretty typical for us. The difference that happened this time around, though, is usually we get about 1 or 2 days of those sort of euphoric feelings, like colors look brighter, we have a more positive outlook on life, things are great, we can take things with a grain of salt. And this time we didn't get that. We just got the irritability. And it was extremely unpleasant to deal with. It's hard to explain the feeling that the body gets during a hypomanic episode, but it is extremely uncomfortable, and it's not, we don't look forward to them. We don't look forward to hypomanic episodes. It's not a positive thing for us, but I am glad, like Megumi said, that we didn't fall into the depressive episode after the fact. Let us know if you experience hypomania or mania, and if it's more euphoric for you, or if you get more of the irritability and anxiety. I know for us, we definitely tend to be more heavy on the irritability and anxiety side, especially anxiety, like really high anxiety. But that's it for this video. So until the next one, take care and stay well.